Powered by Riverside.
Well, we're not off to a good start. Did that show up on your screen? Something goofy? Mr. Rochon?
Yes.
Did something show up on your screen that was all gerbled?
No.
Oh, did on mine. I was like, uh-oh.
Okay.
I got the white screen of death there for a second.
Oh, no, I didn't see anything.
Oh, good. Good. We're good to go.
All right.
Just on my
All
end.
right.
It's always satisfying to me. At least it's my problem, not anybody else's. Hey, welcome to BJB Today. It's game day.
Yes, it is.
Let me classify this as the scariest game of the year, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just in my mind it is.
Right.
Welcome to the show. Make sure you hit subscribe and like. Helps us out a ton. And before you do, I just want to give a huge shout out to Vino Moss. Vino Moss has two great locations now, one in Legacy and one over in Eagle Run. Check them out. Fantastic wine club. Have wines from all over the world each month that you get. And plus, you can just go in, grab a bottle off the shelf. If there's a wine maybe that you prefer and they don't have, they'll certainly take a look and try and get one for you. So check it out. That's Vino Moss. Service just impeccable there at both locations. So check them out. Vino Moss over in Legacy and in Eagle Run. So today we're going to do our game preview of Marquette. If you remember, we played them way back in December when we were kind of rolling and they weren't. Now, I would say we were kind of struggling a little bit since then. And they are too. Like they never really have got it going. But what do you see, Michael?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, the Jays. It looked when the Jays played them back in December, it looked like, hey, maybe the Jays have some things figured out. They won that game 84-63 at CHI. If you remember, Nick Graves kind of got the Jays rolling there in that first half. He had finished with 17, hit a couple threes, hit the one and one for the 4-point play that really, electrified the crowd and got us going in that game. I was kind of looking through Marquette's stuff last night, and I agree with the sentiment that it's a scary game, just because I'm looking through Marquette stuff and what they do well, and I don't see anything that they do well. So so that's always the thing that scares you. And if Creighton was playing with the way they were back in December, I would feel a lot more confident. But when you're struggling as much as Creighton is on the defensive end, that's going into any game is going to be scary, and you have a chance to lose the game because your defense is so poor right now, and it puts so much stress on your offense to go down and have quality possessions and get good shots up and score the basketball. And on the road, that's always difficult. So that's why I agree with your sentiment that it's a scary game, and it's a game you obviously cannot lose. Marquette and KenPom is 124, and in the net they're 144. So obviously, like I said, they don't do anything well. The metrics don't like them at all. So 7-14 on the season, 2-8 in the Big East. So
yeah, when you look at their games though, if you just throw out UConn and St. John's, they've been really in every game. I mean, their scores have been really close.
Yep.
Now they did lose by at Butler. They lost by 11 last time out, but they've been really close.
Yep.
And I always have this theory, if you lose a lot of close games, it's one of two. In basketball, it's one of two things. It's coaching or It's that you don't have that guy,
Right.
and they don't have that guy. Now we really don't have that guy either,
Right.
okay? So, I'm not saying, but to me, that's what usually dictates a lot of close losses.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like you said, they lost at DePaul by 5. They win at Providence in overtime, 105 to 104. They lost to Villanova by 3, Xavier by 1, Seton Hall by 6. So they're in all these games, and you know that, like you said, that comes down to, do you have somebody on the offensive end that when things get tight down the stretch, can they get a bucket? And, like you said, I don't think Creighton has that guy, but, Swartz is coming along. At least, there's at least a confidence that when the ball's in Swartz' hands or Dick's hands, that, something positive can happen. And I just, if you look at Marquette, they just don't really seem to have that guy. Their leading scorer on the season is Chase Ross. Jays did an outstanding job on him the first time around and really frustrated him. If you go back and rewatch that game, his body language is awful in that game. He's averaging 15 points on the season, but only 12 points in Big East play. I think the Big East teams are just taking him away and saying, hey, the rest of you guys on Marquette, go ahead and try to beat us. And, so far it's been, everybody's been successful at it. He had 20 against St. John's. His low is 4 against Georgetown, and he had 9 against Creighton on 3 of 13 shooting. So, Jays did a great job on him. I expect, Dix will be on him again tonight and, make life miserable for him.
Parham didn't have a very good game against us the first time out,
He did not.
in my recollection. Yeah.
Yeah, he only scored 3 points against us in the first game, and he only played 19 minutes in that game too. I went back, and he wasn't in foul trouble either. So, it was just maybe one of those coaches like, yeah, he doesn't have it. He's gonna
A
sit out.
matchup deal.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So he's averaging 10 on the season, but in Big East play, he's averaging 12, 45%, and only 26% from the 3-point line. So he was tough. So Nigel James, their freshman, we kind of talked about him. So he is kind of, I guess, a guy who's kind of taking over the scoring load, which, as a basketball guy, you don't love your point guard being, your main scorer all the time. He has 15 on the season, but only 9. He's close to 20 in Big East play. He had 38 in that game against Providence. He has scored 20. Yeah, he scored 23 against us, but he shot the ball 18 times in that game. So 23 points, but it's not an efficient 23 points. So if you look at when Creighton had the really good point guards, with Zagorowski, when he would score 23 points, it would be on 11 shots or something like that. So I think that just in looking at the box scores of different games, teams are just letting Nigel James shoot, and they're gonna live with him going down and shooting everything because he's not a great shooter. He wants to get to the basket, and so I think that's what a lot of teams are doing right now, is just kind of letting him get his, and then, hey, we're not gonna let Chase Ross do anything, and it just kind of seems like that's the way that these games are kind of unfolding for Marquette.
Yeah. It's always been I don't know. I I don't wanna go down this rabbit hole here, but, there's always the perception amongst some Big East media and fans that Creighton is such a tough place to play, okay? And I've never thought that. I just think we're a tough place to play because 'cause we've had good teams,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, the you know what I mean? There's schools that are really good, I don't know. One doesn't really come to mind right, well, maybe North Carolina. North Carolina's always good, but I don't consider that just oh my god, you don't
Right.
wanna go and play there,
Right.
It's not like, you
Yeah.
know Allen Fieldhouse
Right.
or,
Yeah.
something,
Or a Big East example,
so I think it's
Providence. I mean,
yeah,
Providence is a tough
Providence is
place
a
to
tough place
play,
to play.
you know,
Yeah,
when you're
no
just
doubt.
looking at Big East teams. Yeah.
It's a tough place to play. Um, but yeah, uh, but Marquette's kinda, to me, falls in the same category. Um, it's always been it's been considered a tough place to play,
Yeah.
but again, is that because they've had good teams?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Um, the games I haven't watched a ton of Marquette home games this year. The games I've watched, it doesn't look like the crowd's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're 1-4 at home this year. So, I mean, it's, and their one win is against Providence in that 105-104 game. So, I mean, it's not like, I mean, I guess when their record's 2-8 in the Big East, you're not going to be very good at home or the road. So,
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing. You can go look at tennis, but I'm sure they're the same as Creighton. They've got a big, huge season ticket
right.
base, so it's not really, and the difference there is too, I would think if they're not doing well, that's
Right.
a pro town,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's the people are just gonna go watch the Bucks,
Right.
Kinda
That's not
if
the
if
Bucks are
Marquette
much
has a
better.
bad
So,
team, here, there's no other option, so
oh,
you just,
exactly. Yep.
you know Yeah. So I don't know on a t
It's
I
a
guess on a
it's a late
Tuesday night, we're probably
and a late
y
too.
yeah, 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 it is kinda late, it's 8:30
Yeah.
especially, and the arena's downtown, so you live in the suburbs, it's, probably a 45-minute drive or a half-hour drive, and, it's
Yep.
yeah, yeah. So that's probably very helpful. You're
Yep.
you're right.
Yep.
Um, but then sometimes, a big crowd on the road gets people motivated. Because I guess the other storyline in this game is this, and we feel like we're miles away from UConn, but is this kind of a trap game for us?
Right.
Um, I don't know. I don't there hasn't been a lot of buzz about us taking down it'd be different if we were 1 game behind UConn,
Right.
so then, "Oh my god, Saturdays."
Yeah.
Um, to me, Saturday is just it's kind of a cherry on top if we win, and it would be a differentiator for us from on that 3 spot.
Yep.
We would have a real
Right.
leg up on the 3
Oh, for
spot,
sure. Yeah.
and maybe if something happens to St. John's, which I don't think it's gonna, I think they're kinda got it together now.
Yeah.
But if something happened to St. John's, we'd have a shot at the 2.
Right.
I just don't, you know, um, but back to Marquette, back to their close games, it goes back to what Max said yesterday and what I've been saying all season. He goes, "There's just not any difference between the 3 and the 11 in our league
Right.
this year." They're all very close, and that's why every game in that group is gonna be a tough game and a close game.
Yep. Yeah. I completely agree with what Max said. I mean, and you can just tell, like, if you go and you look at the box or the scores of the Big East the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, like all of these games are tight, and even, and I know, we put UConn on this top tier, but teams are still playing with them. And, now that you talked about it a little bit yesterday, if Mullins is out for a little bit, it brings UConn down just a little bit. They're still really good. But it's just, it's going to be a crazy, this is a halfway point of the Big East season for the Jays. It's going to be a crazy, last half where, they can win every game. But they can also lose every game. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Before we get on to more detail, I wanna show everybody these swanky Blue Jay Banner T-shirts, and, you can get one from us, and we get them from RTI Threads, exclusive apparel provider of Blue Jay Banner. RTI Threads, go to rtithreads.com, see everything they have to offer. They got quarter zips, tees, hoodies, caps, all kinds of Jays paraphernalia, little mini basketballs that we have the players sign and we give away to fans. So check it all out. That's at rtithreads.com. You'll be happy you did. So from a Creighton perspective, what would you say? I know. I want to ask you about one other guy, Ben Gold.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Is he improved his 3-point shooting at all?
Nope. Still at 24%.
Wow.
From three. He is struggling big time. Averaging 8 on the season, 7 in Big East play. It's what we talked about, the preview of when they first played is I just don't, teams just aren't letting him get clean looks. They know he's not going to put the ball on the floor and do anything. So they are, coming out, flying out and making life really, really difficult on him. He did not play against St. John's. I don't know if it was an injury. I didn't see anything on it. So, so he's actually only played in 9 Big East games so far. I just one other note on Marquette. Like we talked about at the preview show the first time, one of their returning players, Sean Jones, he had 9 against Creighton the first time. In the Butler game, he tore his ACL, so he is out for the year. That's a big loss for them. He's one of those guys that's been in the program, a tough player.
Yeah, huge loss.
Just a leader for them. That's a big blow for them. And then, we talked about it. I don't remember what show we talked about, but they had the incident. Zayd Lowry is no longer on the team. So that's just another guy that they have lost throughout the season. So
yeah, he's been out a while.
He's been out a while.
Yeah. So they probably adjusted that, but boy, losing Jones, that's huge.
Yep.
That's a position where we have a lot of depth. So
right.
That's good for us. And that
right.
We should give an update. Jason Green practiced yesterday. According to Mac, it looks like he's going to be a go. Now, again, one tweak of that arm, and it could be right back to where we are. So that's kind of the way it's going to be, I think, the rest of the year. But Jason's been a warrior through all this and playing. Unfortunately, Owen Freeman now has an injury with his other leg, apparently. So I don't know. He didn't practice yesterday. I would say the chances of him playing are nil.
Right.
Okay. like
yeah.
Man.
Because he practiced on Sunday, but did not practice yesterday. Right. Okay.
So he's over the illness, but I'm not sure at this point. Mac is doesn't have a lot of trust in him anyway, so he's probably gonna, as long as Jason can play, he'll go with Karam and he'll throw Trout in the 5 a little bit, and probably see a little more Hudson Greer and go that route. Not that Hudson will play the 5, but they can do a rotation with, say, Hudson and Isaac and Fedor, and you get some or Harper. At least do a rotation with that where you get some bigger guys out there.
Yeah, at least tonight, Marquette's not huge, and they're actually the worst rebounding team in the Big East. Marquette is, so they're worse than Creighton.
That's saying something if you're worse than us.
Yeah, so that's so that is, I guess, a positive for tonight. If something were to happen to Jason and tweak and got to go a little bit smaller, it's not like Marquette is this amazing rebounding team now. We just talked about it come Saturday. That's not ideal.
Can you imagine Reed in there?
Yeah. So
it's gonna kind of be what I watched Saturday when Fred was, going against the Northern Iowa guys. This is having his way. Reed. Oh my God.
Right. But you know what? Just got to focus on it tonight.
I hate
Win
to
tonight.
derail this. I hate to derail this back to UConn, but have you heard anything about Mullen? I didn't have a
I
chance to
have
look yesterday if
I
there
have
was an
not
update.
I have not seen anything.
Okay.
Do they play tonight?
Yes, they play before us actually. So you know that game. And have you watched any double headers on TNT? Or T or True or wherever the hell we're at. I haven't. So I don't know how does that work when games run long? Do they just bust into them late, or do they shove it over to one? I don't think they
I
shove it over to one of their other.
Yeah, I actually haven't. You know, yeah, that's a good question. I haven't.
I think we're just gonna see. We're just
Yeah,
gonna join our game late, and I don't
yeah,
know why they don't do a 6 o'clock tip.
yeah.
For the first game, it's 2 East Coast teams. Tip them off at 7. I
Right.
just don't get. I don't get what's in people's brains doing that. I mean, you cannot do a 2-hour window. You know, it's
Right.
like ESPN tries to do that on Saturdays sometimes, and they get so behind
Right.
that by the time the last like 4 to 6 game plays, that game gets done at like 6:30, and they don't have much of a pregame for their big game at Saturday
Right.
night. You know, it's like
Yeah.
God, wake
Yeah.
up, man.
Yeah. Well, I saw like they
Um,
did a 2-hour windows, but somebody was like they did. They looked at all the time, and they're like the average college basketball game lasts 2 hours and 15 minutes. So why are we why are we putting a 2-hour
yeah,
window on these games? Like the data's there.
maybe they're hoping it's going to be a blowout tonight. Typically, blowouts go quicker,
Yeah.
so
We got.
which it well could be.
I saw Brian Anderson and Grant Hill are on the call tonight. So
Yes, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, they've
yeah.
been doing a lot of games
Oh yeah.
on the Turner Network. So,
Yep.
Brian Anderson, if you don't know, he used to be on the Golf Channel. That's where he started. He was doing like the Corn Ferry stuff for the Golf Channel, and then he's now I think he still
Yes.
is the Brewers play-by-play guy.
Yep. He is. I love Brian Anderson. I'm a
And
big Brian Anderson fan.
what's that?
I'm a big Brian Anderson fan. He's
Yeah, I
outstanding.
like him. He grew on me. At first, I was
Yeah.
like, but he grew on me. Grant Hill should. Every time I watch Grant Hill on a game, I always think he should be better with his commentary than he is.
Yeah.
He really doesn't. He keeps it pretty generic. He
He
doesn't
does.
say anything.
Yep.
That, you know.
Yeah. I agree.
Doesn't give you
Yeah.
any inside stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Like as much as if you like or don't like Jimmy Jackson, at least he comes out
Oh,
and says,
Jim Jackson's awesome.
yeah. Um, Nick Bott too. Nick Bott's
Oh yeah.
pretty good.
Oh yeah. I think he's really good. He's really good.
I like Kugler's tweet the other day. He's getting crap from Nebraska fans, which is just stupid.
Again?
And he
Jeez.
tweets out, he goes, "Hey, just to let you know, I won't be doing any of these Nebraska games this week, so enjoy your."
Yeah. Man.
So by the way, so I know everybody's talking about that. So that's on Peacock at 6. The huge matchup, Nebraska and Michigan. So I know I've said this a couple times, but I think this is the one where Michigan can kind of match up with them defensively. Plus, they're just so much bigger than Nebraska.
Yeah.
And such a better rebounding team. I think this is the one where, yeah.
So it's probably by far the most athletic team that Nebraska's gone up against this season.
I would say the best team they played too.
For sure.
Although
Yeah.
they caught Illinois when
Yes.
Illinois was A, didn't play well that night, B, was playing probably their poorest stretch of basketball this season. So Illinois is playing really well right now.
That Purdue game, that was a really good basketball game.
Yeah, high level stuff there.
Yeah.
Quickly, I was just going to interject. So back to Mullins. So I was driving up to Northern Iowa on Saturday. I was listening to this Sirius, and it was the UConn radio broadcast. And they said that Mullins' equilibrium was way off.
Really?
and why he wasn't gonna play the rest of that game, which to me says if you got hit in your head and your equilibrium's off, that means you go through, uh, concussion protocol.
Right.
Um, yeah, I would doubt he would play tonight. Home game against Providence, I would doubt they would
Yeah.
even put him in there.
No.
And I would, you know, you can probably feel they have enough to beat us.
Right.
God, like if Green doesn't play
Right.
against UConn, it could. It
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
The only way
Yeah.
I could see us winning
Yeah.
that game would be
Mullins.
if we get to the old days when you don't have the shot clock, we'd hold the ball.
Right. Yeah. Limit possessions for sure.
Um, but it'll be cool.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's what we gotta win tonight to set all that up, you know?
Yes, for sure.
But Mac's been pretty good about that. We haven't had too many games over at Mac's course where you look at, um, trap games, and generally speaking, Mac's done pretty well in those games. It's hard to win those games, but Mac's done pretty
Yep.
well in those. Didn't
Yeah.
win them all, but he's been pretty good in those games.
Right. I would actually, personally, I would worry more of a trap game if it was at home.
Really?
Tonight. Yeah. I just,
Mm.
you just gotta, when you're at
I don't know,
home,
we've won
it's just
so easily.
easier
We've
to
won so
go.
easily at home the last 2 games. I don't know how
Yeah.
you'd think that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, nobody's heart almost exploded on the drive home. So
I was just thinking about that the other day, the last 2 games, like, how the hell do we win those 2 at
I,
home?
it,
This
it's,
is
yeah, it's unbelievable. I, there,
well, almost I don't know, I'm sure you were in bed because, you don't stay up late. Oh my god. So, Arizona was so impressive for 38 minutes. I mean, they just dismantled BYU. They were just pounding. They were up 17 with, like, 6 minutes to go, and every time BYU'd make a little run, they'd answer, and they were just crushing them. And they were up 10 with less than a minute to go, and BYU got the ball with with the chance to tie. It was unbelievable.
yeah,
Now, they didn't really get a good shot because there was only, like, 2 seconds left when they got the ball, but, oh my god, it got scary for, I put out a bracket today, and I had the whole bracket all done, and I'm like, "Oh, great." And it wasn't Arizona because I don't think Arizona would have lost their top spot even with a loss, but the BYU thing, they
right,
would have moved up for me.
right.
Um, but anyway, yeah. Whew.
I've noticed watching a bunch of basketball this year is late game situations have not been good. Like teams are struggling with the lead to hold on to those leads, and other teams are just fighting like hell to come back. And the teams that with the lead are just kind of really struggling.
Fran Fraschilla had some great comments at the end of the game last night. There was a call. It was kind of a 50-50 call, and it was kind of an offensive foul call, and he thought that was a horrible call. And then he's like, yeah, he goes, BYU's desperate. And this is exactly what Mac said too. BYU's desperate right now. So the officials are kind of letting them go. He goes, he showed a play. He goes, that's kind of a foul there.
Yeah.
You called the ref called the tie up, and that's kind of a foul. And you can't. And he goes, BYU wants to foul, so why wouldn't you
Right.
think that was going to be a foul?
Right.
And with the games I've seen, the refs kind of swallow the whistle in the last minute and
Oh.
let them. Yeah, I'm all about swallowing the whistle when there's 10 seconds left and it's one possession, but not when there's a minute to go and a team's down 10 and they're trying to get back in the
Right.
game and they're just hacking the heck like
Yeah.
Seton Hall did us.
Hall,
By the
yeah.
way, so Shaheen went off after the loss Saturday and said he didn't use the Creighton game as an example. He used a different game.
The UConn game?
St. John. I thought he used the St. John's game. I could be wrong. But anyway, he just said, oh, yeah, after that game, he goes, when we came back and they complained, I think it was Patino. I think it was St. John's. He said after they complained about it. Now the refs are just calling our games way different and calling fouls. Well, yeah, because you got away with fouls for the first 7-8 games.
Right.
You know, I mean, you're just fouling.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. I mean,
Right.
there's no, oh, come on, Tim, that's tough. No, they're fouling.
Yes.
Like when you're chucking a guy up the sideline 3 times in a row, that's a foul.
Right. I've always said it's easy to play defense when the officials let you foul. Like, it's so easy. Like, that's not good defense. Like, that's just, you're just getting away with a foul and the refs are letting it go. So, like, quote unquote, hey, we're a good defense. No, you're not. You just foul a lot and, you get the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. So, yeah, I have nothing to say nice about Shaheen if he's going to complain about that stuff. So.
He just looks horrible all the time on the sideline.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, enough about Shaheen and Seton Hall. We'll get to them. We'll get to them next week.
Yeah. Yep.
Another scary game.
Right.
All right. So what do you think tonight?
Like I said, I've been terrible at predictions all year. So again, like I said in the last game preview, Marquette, like you talked about, Marquette's going to be a desperate basketball team tonight, and they've been in close games. They're going to come out. They're at home. They're going to be firing. Can Creighton match that? Can Creighton match that intensity? And then, if Creighton gets up and Marquette starts coming back and the crowd gets into it, can Creighton then, re-energize themselves and get going? Or if this is a dead crowd, can Creighton get the energy? Can they self-motivate themselves to go out there and play? I mean, every game right now is must-win territory for Creighton. You want to stay in the top half of the Big East. And steal and road wins is massive in the Big East. And, that's just I just want to see the energy. I thought they had the energy, in the last game against Xavier, but like they've had time off, had time to work on themselves a little bit. So, this is a must win. And, Creighton is a better basketball team than Marquette. So go win the game.
Yeah. It sounded to me like they had a good week of practice, but they didn't really plug the holes on defense. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Like Max said, it's tough. The tough part is now you're kind of to the point where it's like, do they have the guys that can play solid defense for the shot clock? And I've yet to see it consistently for 40 minutes. So that's scary.
Yeah.
So.
What's not scary is Infusion Brewing Company. Go to infusionbrewing.com, check out their times of their tasting room, go over there, taste. You get a whole flight of all their different beers. You can check them all out, which ones you like. I found a new one, the spicy dill pickle beer. I added some Bloody Marys this weekend. Oh my God, it was fabulous. And obviously the home of the Let It Fly beer, where you can get at the Let It Fly Sports Bar before every game, and I'm sure it'll be a packed house on Saturday. So check it out. That's Infusion Brewing, infusionbrewing.com. All right. There's a game preview. I have some breaking news on Thursday. It's AJ's Analytics.
Nice.
He's finally committed to a Thursday date. So
good.
Yeah. Big viewership last time. People loved it. So we're gonna knock it out. And then Mike will be back Friday for the huge preview of UConn. And I can't wait to hear what his Creighton game plan is going to be to beat UConn. Although I'll tell you this, Saturday when Mullen went out of the game, and he went out in the first half, in the second half, they struggled to score. Reed got in a little foul trouble, and they really struggled.
Yeah.
Because Ball was off a little bit. And
he's been off in Big East play. Solo Ball has. He has not shot the ball well. So we desperately need that to continue.
Yeah. So wouldn't hurt my feelings if Mullen didn't play.
Right.
I think Hurley should rest him. I think he should rest him for the NCAA tournament.
Hey, honestly, I know, we're half joking, but like UConn obviously has bigger things to play for, than a Saturday night at Creighton. And like, if he's not 100%, like you cannot, with how physical Big East basketball games are, like you can't, because if he gets another one, I mean, he could not play for the rest of the year. You get another concussion in a less than a week and a half span, like that's not good.
Here's the weird thing. Like I was just gonna say, oh yeah, they're playing for 1 seed, but technically, the way things are like rolling out with the seeds, UConn would almost be better being the first 2 because then they would lock in the East.
Yep.
Because if they're the last 4, they're headed west, man. There's no way around it.
Right.
So, that's kind of interesting. It sometimes happens. The only way that wouldn't happen is if Gonzaga suddenly burst on if these top teams lose a bunch of games and Gonzaga moves up, keeps winning, but I don't see that happening. So, yeah. Oh, I take that back. No, they're not going to go west. Arizona's in there.
Oh yeah.
No, so they've got it. Okay, so they do. Yeah, they do kind of need it really doesn't matter 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Because if they were a 5, they couldn't play Arizona they couldn't be in Arizona's region, so that wouldn't work out. So yeah, they're probably in really good shape to get an East location.
Yeah.
They have to go against Duke, but so what?
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, yeah, 8:30 tip. It's probably going to start at 8:45, or we're going to join the game late, which I can't stand because you join the game late and you're down 10-2, and you're like, how did that happen?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
So anyway, thank you, Michael. Thanks to our sponsors, Infusion Brewing Company, Vino Moss, and RTI Threads. And we'll be back with you tomorrow. Don't forget, post game tonight, right after the game. AJ, Austin, and myself. So check it out. We'll see you then.
Go Jays.